there, it's John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to this special edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. This is July picks of the month, and before we get started, a couple quick words about this video to kind of set up what we're going to be talking about today. First off, this video does go out to our Gold Patron members first. So by the time you're seeing it, maybe on YouTube, it's a few days later. Some of these prices and values could have shifted a little bit. So keep that in mind. I don't expect any major changes over the next few days, but just be aware of that. Secondly, this series itself, if you haven't watched it before, this is a look at some undervalued cards. These are my picks for the month of July. Now, what does that mean exactly? I'm not encouraging anyone to go out and try to do a buyout or anything like that of these cards. I don't think that will be very lucrative for you. What this is about is maybe there's a single you've been thinking about picking up for a while for your commander deck or something like that, and you've been putting it off. Well, this video is kind of a reminder to say, hey, you know what? Here's a few cards I'm thinking of that are undervalued right now that over the course of the next year or so may increase in value. So if you've been putting off picking them up, you may want to think about just biting the bullet and getting them for the price they're currently at. That's really what this series is about. Now, quickly before we get started, if you check out the description below, you'll find a couple ways to support us, one of which is our Amazon affiliate store, and we do have a tab there, which is the July Picks of the Month tab. You can find all of the singles that we talk about today, at least the ones that are available currently on Amazon. And if you'd like to make a purchase there or anywhere, a small percentage will come back to help support the channel. It goes a long way. You can also find our Patreon page linked below too. All right, we're going to talk about some older Magic sets today. Now, the first one is going to be Arabian Nights. As a matter of fact, all the cards today, there's 20 cards we're going to look at, and they all come from the first 3 Magic expansions: Arabian Nights, Antiquities, and finally Legends. Now, I wanted to go a little bit older this time. The last few episodes we've done, this is our 4th episode of Picks of the Month, and the first 3 have been about newer cards for the most part. Now, I want to do something a little crazier and go a little bit deeper into the history of Magic here. So we're going to look at some reserve list cards, some cards that aren't reserve list cards, but they all are from these first 3 expansions, and I feel they're all undervalued. Doesn't mean they're all going to be cheap, so keep that in mind. All right, let's get going with our first of the Arabian Nights cards we're going to look at, and that's Aladdin. $7.51 right now. So you look at Aladdin. Is Aladdin a good Magic card? No, Aladdin's not a good Magic card, but it's not even a reserve list card. However, what it has going for it is simply this. It has an emotional connection to people that used to play during that time. Aladdin is a real-world reference. You don't see that anymore in Magic. They don't like to talk about real-world mythology, real-world places, religions, anything like that. So you don't see cards like this made anymore. Even though this is not on the reserve list, this pretty much might as well be on the reserve list because I don't see Magic really tackling the subject of Aladdin again, right? It's just a mythology that's not part of their mythology anymore. The card itself, not very exciting, I'll be honest with you. But for $7.50, this is a card that's undervalued and will increase over time. Next, we have our first reserve list card. It's Ali from Cairo, currently valued at $55.68. And you can probably find this card cheaper if you look around a little bit, quite honestly. So there's some similarities between this and Aladdin. Is Ali from Cairo a good card? No, I wouldn't say it is. There's cards that do similar things that are much cheaper than this one that have come out subsequently. But when this card originally came out in Arabian Nights, this caught a lot of people's attention. It did something we've never seen before in Magic. It made a condition where, at least under certain circumstances, you couldn't lose the game. And that was exciting. That really captured people's imagination. And again, we have a real-world reference here with Cairo, a card that, even if it wasn't on the reserve list, you know that Wizards wouldn't really be tackling any real-world cities or anything like that in the future. So, again, it's unique. It holds a special place for a lot of players. And truly, at this price point, for such a rare old Arabian Nights card, it's only going to go up. Island of Wak Wak. Now, the reserve list card, this one a little more expensive now at $85.04. And that's because this is actually a pretty decent card. Like, I can certainly see myself playing this in Commander. And again, it did something we hadn't seen before when the set came out. First off, it was a way to protect us from creatures without actually blocking them or destroying them. That was unique when you came out of a world that just included Alpha Beta Unlimited at this point. And secondly, it's a land, it's a utility land. It's a land that taps and does something aside from give you mana. that was weird and unique. And aside from that, like I said, this ability actually holds up today and is a good way to defend yourself, especially in like Pillow Fort style commander decks or something like that. Next, we have Cabal Ghoul, another reserve list card. This was one of my favorites back in the day. I played with this all the time. Currently, only $20.23. This is a unique card because they've made cards similar to this since, and every once in a while they do show up in Magic still. But this one is weird because this card doesn't get the +1/+1 counters until the end step. So, think of it this way. I could play a Wrath of God or something like that, any kind of board sweep, then cast the Ghoul, and it still gets all the counters for everything that died at the end of the turn. Not to mention, because of this weird interaction, there's some interesting combos you can do with it. We're actually going to talk about a couple of them as we go forward, so I won't give them away here, but it's an amazing card. It's a lot of fun. I think it still holds up in casual formats like Commander. Maybe even in some competitive formats, maybe 93, 94. I wouldn't mind playing this in maybe like a Suicide Black deck or something like that. But yeah, really exciting card. And if you can pick them up for $20, sometimes even less, kind of like, why not at this point? All right, Oubliette. This one is not on the reserve list. It's actually a common. Right now valued at $23.02. The main reason for the high value here is Pauper. This is a great Pauper removal spell. And it's a very confusing removal spell if you actually sit there and read the rules text. I'll sum it up for you real quick though. It's basically like a black Oblivion Ring for 2 black and 1. And the difference being when it exiles the creature, it also exiles like the enchantments and stuff on them. So all that stuff comes back when the Oubliette goes away. And the card also comes into play tapped on top of it. But the reason I bring it up, other than Pauper purposes, which it's really amazing there, but it does combo with the last card we saw, Cabal Ghoul. If you put this on your own Ghoul and then get rid of the enchantment and the creatures, like you activate Navinaral's Disc or something like that, you get a whole bunch of counters on your Ghoul. Comes into play tapped, and you have to untap with it, of course, and attack next turn. But still, pretty interesting combo, especially for some casual Magic. Next we have Pyramids. This is another reserve list card, $9.82. Another kind of real world reference, at least loosely with Pyramids. But again, this is a little expensive. It's $6 for what it's doing. But it's a really cool commander card if you are in a play group of people that are into land destruction. So this is a nice way to surprise them. If you played some games and gotten blown out with cards like Armageddon or something like that, you can kind of mess with them a little bit here. So this is a cool pickup at under $10. Again, it's not going to get any cheaper than this. Like, why not? Next is Singing Tree, another reserve list card. A little more expensive, $41.45. Similar to Island of Wak Wak in some ways because it does protect you. Now this costs 4 and it's a 0/3 creature. Like those stats aren't super exciting. But again, the ability is kind of fun to mess around with in casual Magic. Maybe again a Pillow Fort style commander deck. There's actually a lot of cards today that support that particular type of gameplay. I don't know why that is necessarily, but maybe I had that on the mind when I was making the list. All right, let's move on to Antiquities. Now, Arabian Nights, of course, we knew was a top-down design that really flushed out that mythology. Antiquities was more of a mechanical design. This set was a small set, much like Arabian Nights, but it focused on artifacts. So everything in the set was basically an artifact, or it interacted with artifacts. And it brought us some pretty amazing cards. Now, maybe the most well-known is Mosher's Workshop. Of course, I wouldn't call that an undervalued card, so that's not on the list, but there's some really good ones. Ashnod's Altar, $10.49. This is not on the reserve list. This has been reprinted many times. You can get cheaper versions of the card. But the reason I point out the original one is this has been a combo enabler basically since day one when it came out, or at least shortly after. Sacrificing one of your creatures to get 2 mana as a free effect. Guess what? You can do some broken stuff with that. So people that play casual Magic or Commander that want to set up some of these broken combos, well, why not have the original version of the card? And if you can pick it up for $10, a lot of people are going to take you up on that offer. So this card has actually even seen competitive play in free Pebble-style decks back in the day. You combo this with Enduring Renewal and an Ornithopter, and guess what? You just get unlimited mana. You can activate a Fireball or something and just burn out everybody on the table. So it is a thing, and again, that original version of the card is going to be appealing to some players, and it's very, very affordable right now. Next is Gate to Phyrexia. This might be the most exciting card out of all 20 we're going to talk about today. It's a reserve list card. I mean, it's an old card from Antiquities, hard to find sometimes. Still with a low price point right now of $10.91. That seems unreal to me because the card is actually good in Commander. 2 black, enchantment, sacrifice one of your creatures during your upkeep to destroy any one artifact. That simple. There's more rules there. You may not sacrifice a creature that is already on its way to the graveyard, but that's just old-timey rule stuff. So, yes, of course, sacrificing a creature to destroy an artifact. Imagine that in a go-wide Commander deck, a lot of token generation, and you get to blow up all your opponent's mana rocks and stuff like that. It's actually kind of crazy, right? Card's only $10, $11. You can probably even find it cheaper. This is definitely a hugely overlooked card. All right, let's look at Power Artifact, another reserve list card. This one a little more expensive, $81.76 right now. But again, you want to talk about some broken combos you can do with this card. Changing the activated cost of an artifact by reducing it by 2. Yeah, I'll let you come up with the combos for that one, but there's a lot of them. Next we have Su-Chi, another reserve list card, and this one's a really solid creature. I don't get to say that a lot when I'm talking about old Magic cards. There's a couple on our list today, but for the most part, when you look at creatures in Magic in these days, they don't compare to more recent creatures. This one, $16.32. You get yourself a 4/4/4 artifact creature. Can fit into any Commander deck. Oh, and by the way, if it goes to the graveyard, you get 4 colorless mana. Now, you can't always take advantage of that if it dies at an inopportune time, sure. But still, you're getting a 4/4/4, and sometimes you get to ramp into something bigger. Yeah, for $15 or so, that's a nice pickup. Thanos' Coffin, another reserve list card, a little more expensive here, $43.99, but again, I feel this is very undervalued. Now keep in mind when you read the rules text here, costs 4, costs 3 to activate, but it is a mono artifact, so it does tap. Keep that in mind as you read through this, because otherwise you'll be very confused. But basically what this does is it just takes a creature off the board. And that can be your creature, can be someone else's creature. Again, another card that's great for Commander. A lot of versatility here. If you have this up, your opponent's going to think twice before trying to use removal on your stuff. They'll just go ahead and maybe use it on someone else's stuff in a lot of cases, because you have a way to protect your creature. Now, your opponents, maybe you want to play the political game in Commander, and they try to destroy an opponent's creature. You can save their creature with this. Or you could take out something that you don't want blocking your stuff before you attack. There's just a lot of different things you can do with a card in Commander. And again, yes, it's not a cheap card or anything like that, but I think, again, you're not going to find it cheaper. Next we have the Rack, the original version from Antiquities, $7.10. And of course, this has seen reprints, and it is not a reserve list card. As a matter of fact, this is modern legal because it was a time-shifted card in Time Spiral, and there have been some competitive Rack decks that have appeared over the years. There's been 8 Rack, for example, and it's a decent deck at times in the meta. So, yeah, you know what? This card always has potential to pop up in certain metas like Modern or maybe even Legacy at times. But still, even regardless, sometimes it's just a good Commander card. Really awesome. A lot of players are going to want the original version, and it's very affordable right now. Next is Transmute Artifact Reserve List card, $69, another one that's not super cheap. And I think in some ways, probably Tinker's a better card than this, but this is maybe a redundancy for a deck, a Commander deck that might want to play something like Tinker. And it lets you search for an artifact. You do have to sacrifice one of your artifacts, and you can pay more mana into it to kind of sacrifice and get something that costs more. But overall, like I said, maybe not as sharp as some other cards. It is a reserve list card. It's unique, and it's a nice redundancy sometimes. Urza's Mitre, another reserve list card at $10.99 that's actually pretty affordable. This was the target of a buyout a few months back, and it quickly re-entered the market. They bought it out, sold it right back. Card went down to this mark, $10 mark, pretty quickly. But it's a little confusing with the rules, I will admit. But it does potentially, for artifact decks anyway, especially if you're running a lot of artifact creatures, this is good. Can lead to some card draw in Commander games. So something to keep in mind. I mean, again, there might be better options out there, but it's an interesting card. Could be kind of fun to play around with. All right, let's move on to Legends. Now, I have a few less cards from Legends than maybe those last 2 sets. A lot of stuff in Legends is really high priced right now, and I wouldn't call it undervalued necessarily, but I did pick out a few cards that caught my eye. The first one is this one, Angus Mackenzie. Reserve list card, 8572, great commander card. If you're an avid commander player, you're probably already familiar with this card. This was like the original pillow fort commander, right? It encourages opponents to just not attack you, because if you do, you'll activate this and they're not going to get anything out of it. You might as well just go ahead and attack somebody else. And it's a unique card. I mean, the legends, at least a lot of the legends from this set, were designed to be like the designers and the developers' D&D characters. So that's why you have some really unique ones like this one, and I think it's really cool. It's a piece of Magic history, but it's also a very good commander card. Gravity Spear, another reserve list card. This one a little cheaper at $35.19. This card used to see a lot of play back in the day. Keep in mind, it is an enchant world. There's some unique rules around those that you want to be aware of. But aside from that, I mean, another great kind of lockdown card. Works well with other cards that prevent damage. And again, it's another pillow fort card that could be pretty interesting. Hellfire, another one of my favorite cards back in the day. Worth $50 right now, and it's a reserve list card. Basically a one-sided board sweep if you're playing black. So if you have a mono black commander deck, or maybe the majority of your creatures being black, this can be quite good. I mean, be careful because it does do damage to you, so you do have to kind of watch where you're playing this. But it's phenomenal under certain circumstances. Combos well again with cards like Cabal Ghoul. Land Tax. Now this one is not on the reserve list. It has seen a reprint. The original version here, $31.95. A lot of people underestimate this card. Like, I'll play it sometimes in MTGO cubes, and it will wheel. And I'll pick it up, and it will win me games. Like, it is that good, and a lot of times I think players underestimate or undervalue what it actually does on the board. This is another nice pickup, I think, at the $30 price point that isn't going down. Thunder Spirits. This is our last card of the day. It's a reserve list card, $77.52. Now, typically when I talk about old-timey Magic creatures, I usually say, well, creature's not very good anymore. But this one feels like it could stand up in today's environment. Like, if this was printed today, I would say this probably feels like a 2 white and 2. But for 2 white and 1, you get yourself a 2/2 first strike flyer, and it's a spirit, which definitely matters in a lot of commander decks for tribal purposes. So again, this one's not going down. Also very good in 93-94 format, if you happen to play that format. But yeah, this card, another one I played a lot back in the day, and yes, it is expensive. It's not cheap, but I don't think it's ever going to get any cheaper. All right, having said that, those are the picks of the month, and I hope you found this helpful. Like I said at the top of the video, I mean, this isn't about like trying to identify cards to buy out or anything like that. I just don't think you're going to really do well choosing any of these 20 cards to do that with. But it's simply, you know, maybe you had your eye on that Cabal Ghoul for a while, and you know, it's only $20. It's a card that's going to go up in value over time. Might be time to pick that up, throw it in my commander deck or what have you. So that's really the purpose of this, and I hope you all found it helpful. Until next time, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible by the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.